for today's Cyber CEO episode.
And I was really impressed with my Cyberbacker, how resourceful she was. She went and found tools online. I'm having her constantly pull from all these different sources, synthesize things for me, conduct searches for clients so that making sure I'm not missing anything. She helps a lot on the marketing front as well. One, just holding me accountable, and two, actually helping to produce some of the content. She happens to have a great design eye, if you will. I mean, she's not professionally trained, but she is able to take the templates on Canva and really work with them. So that helps save me a ton of time as well. Such a positive person. She is respectful. She's a quick learner, but she just takes those opportunities and runs. She at least tries before she reaches out and asks questions, which is just hugely helpful from a time perspective to me. Frankly, she does a phenomenal job at it, so she doesn't even really need my help.
Welcome to Cyber CEO, wherein we talk about how our cyberbackers helped our cyber CEOs take their businesses to the next level. Cyber CEO is powered by Cyberbacker, the world's leading provider of admin support services from anywhere in the world to anyone in the world. Please visit our website www.cyberbacker.com for more details. Okay, another awesome day here at Cyberbacker. My name is 𝗙𝗯𝗶𝗹. We're back with another episode of Cyber CEO. And of course, we have a very special guest on the show right now. Blakely, how are you doing today?
Great. Thanks. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you very much for asking and for dropping by. I know you have a lot of things to do. Now, to start things off, to let you know, we have a lot of listeners who are also business owners just like yourself. So I need your help. Can you introduce yourself to our audience? Maybe starting off with, what's your role in the business, Blakely?
Sure. So I run my own business. I'm a realtor in San Francisco Bay Area, and I have a team of individuals that work for me, representing both buyers and sellers on their real estate purchases.
Okay. Now, how long have you been in the real estate world?
It feels like forever. It's actually been about 5 years. And I transitioned from my career before this, but I have been very fortunate to really hit the ground running and very quickly found myself very busy and needing an assistant.
All right. Talking about an assistant right there. Is this your first time working with someone who is virtual?
No, it's not.
Oh, so you had experience before Cyberbacker then?
I did. I had another virtual assistant prior to hiring my current one, 𝗙𝗻𝗃.
Okay. Now, talk to me about virtual leverage, though. I know a lot of us were kind of used to working with people that we can meet. Now, everything's going a bit more virtual. So was it a big change for you? And how was the transition for you and your business?
You know, I mean, honestly, it's not that much different than if I were hiring for, in a corporate position. I'm in real estate, so it's a little bit of a different world. But, this world that we live in now is virtual first for most companies. So, in the pandemic, in the early parts of the pandemic, you were at least riding on relationships that you had built in person prior to the pandemic. But now that we are, 3 years into this, people all over in all industries and all companies are working with people that they've never physically met in person before.
There we go. Now, before you got partnered with Cyberbacker, I'd like to know, how did you find out about us? Did you see us online? Did someone refer you to us?
I heard about Cyberbacker through another real estate professional colleague that I work with.
More about your Cyberbacker experience. Before you got started with your Cyberbacker, you went through the hiring process before you ever had to work with one. So how did that experience go for you?
That was one of the best parts to me. Well, now the best part is actually having my Cyberbacker. But I was really intimidated. I knew I needed to hire a full-time assistant. As I mentioned, I had one before. She was great with a different company, but I only had her for about 5-10 hours a week, and she did not adjust to my time zone. So it was constantly having to stay up late or get up early to adjust if I needed to explain something, or trying to predict what I was going to need the next day. But now my Cyberbacker works on my hours, which is phenomenal. In my business, things are constantly changing and constantly coming up. And so I'm able to just text her, call her, email her, whatever. And within a few minutes, I get a response and she's on it. So that's great. But going back to your question around the interviewing process, I was super intimidated because I knew I needed to hire, as I mentioned, this full-time person, but to actually take the time to sit down and write up a job description, and I tried to identify everything that I needed and go through the interview and, figure out what questions to ask and all these different things. It's a lot of work. And I know that it was going to be going to be worth it in the end, but it was intimidating. And so I was blown away by how CyberBacker just totally took ownership of that process. I mean, we had a conversation. I was able to describe what I wanted in a few words, and they literally just took that and ran with it. Within 24 hours, I had a job description in my inbox that I could edit and prioritize. They basically gave me all these tasks and said, which one are your top 10? And so I went through and I prioritized. That was the hardest thing I had to do, was prioritizing those. And then from that and knowing what I needed and the personality that I needed and all these things, they set up interviews that they pre-screened for me. They did the assessments, personality assessments. And then I was able to do basically one speed round of dating, essentially, in order to find the right person. I narrowed it down to 2 people from there. I assigned an exercise to understand kind of how these folks could really interpret what I was doing and help out. And so I sent that over. CyberBacker took care of it all. They sent me the responses. I graded, so to speak, the assessments and picked my CyberBacker. It was all within, a couple days.
They're quite fast transition.
Very fast.
Very, very fast process. But again, most important thing is that you get your perfect match. Now, that's your CyberBacker today. Aside from the assessments though, how did you know? Or did you just base it on the assessment that you gave or the interview? How did you know that your CyberBacker now was the perfect fit for what you needed in your business then?
So I think one thing that's really important is to have realistic expectations. A lot of these folks that when you're hiring a virtual assistant, not just with CyberBacker, but anywhere, you're getting people that are usually a little bit more junior in their career, maybe don't have the exact relevant experience of what you're looking for. They haven't done exactly what you want them to do. But the most important thing is, are they coachable? Can I take feedback and can I learn quickly? And so for me, it was trying to dive into stories and examples from past experiences and careers that my CyberBacker or those that I interviewed had, not saying, hey, tell me about your real estate experience, because I didn't expect them to have real estate experience, especially not real estate in the Bay Area and San Francisco. So I really tried to think about, okay, I need someone who's motivated, who's a hustler, who can respond quickly. I need someone who's going to be talking to clients, via email sometimes or text. So I need someone who is proficient in English, and is able to learn quickly. And so my interview was about diving into questions around, tell me about a time when you didn't know what to do and you figured it out on your own, you were resourceful. And then even with the exercise, I gave a real life example of something that I really would have asked for my CyberBacker to complete, but I didn't give them any training. I didn't give them any context. I didn't give them any acknowledgement of tools or training on tools. I just said, go do it. Just figure it out. Because I was trying to see if they were resourceful, if they could figure it out. And I was really impressed with my CyberBacker, the one I ended up hiring, how resourceful she was. She went and found tools online that were free. She taught herself how to use them and then used them. She didn't get the exercise right. There was kind of there was a little bit of a right or wrong answer. And she actually didn't do it right. But what I thought was really interesting is she was resourceful, figured out in a very short period of time how to get some information. And then when I gave her the feedback, I actually had a live session with her to give her feedback live. And I watched to see how she responded. And when she responded very well to the feedback, and I asked her, okay, here's my feedback. Okay, now knowing this, what would you have done differently next time? And she immediately caught on. So I knew that she was coachable. She could learn quickly. She could take feedback well, and she was resourceful.
So right there, I think you already found your perfect match because again, even if she didn't really get it right, the task that you asked them to do, she still tried to do her best again to find everything that she needs to do. And again, took the feedback well. I think that's something that's very hard to find in people right now. Again, taking in feedback, any feedback or any constructive criticism at that, right? Again, in any partnership, that's key. Criticism, again, it's not just towards you and your CyberBacker, but it's a mutual partnership. So if ever you need help too, then your CyberBacker can step in and, hey, I think we can do it better this way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, talking about things and tasks, what are the tasks then that you leverage off to your CyberBacker so that you can focus on your business, Blakely?
I mean, I feel like I throw a new task at her every week. And so, it's a lot of digging through information, pulling information, synthesizing information for me from the MLS, which is our kind of realtor's Bible, if you will, of information. But there's so many different tools and resources out there. So I'm having her constantly pull from all these different sources, synthesize things for me, conduct searches for clients so that making sure I'm not missing anything. She does do a lot, helps a lot on the marketing front as well. One, just holding me accountable, and two, actually helping to produce some of the content. I have a Canva account. She happens to have a great design eye, if you will. I mean, she's not professionally trained, but she is able to take the templates on Canva and really work with them. So that helps save me a ton of time as well. And I mean, I can't even begin to list all the things she does, but she does a ton of stuff, which is, all incredibly helpful.
So basically, she's almost everywhere in your business. She has a hand in everything, almost.
Totally.
Gotcha. Now, how long have you been working with your Cyberbacker? I forgot to ask earlier.
It's been about a month and a half, I want to say.
A month and a half. Now, a fairly new partnership. Now, my next question is related to that. How do you create a strong bond with someone who's virtual? Because I know for a fact that some of our listeners might have a difficult time going through this virtual piece or transitioning into the virtual world. So do you have any tips that you can share with our listeners?
Totally. Think about what you would do if they were here. Some things, obviously, taking them out to dinner or coffee, you can't do, but replicate that in a virtual world. And so, I think it's easy to just jump in and say, okay, this is my task person. This is going to be the person that's going to create all my tasks or do all my tasks. But, you forget because in some ways they don't feel as human-like as someone who might be sitting next to you because you only interact with them over Zoom or the screen. They're a person as well. And they need that support. They need that coaching. They need that help. They need that, just human connection. And so one of my first conversations with her was to tell me about her life goals. I wanted to understand, not just say, obviously you're doing this now and I hope you're with me forever and this is great, but I'm not going to be naive. I know that you've got probably bigger and different ambitions. So help me understand, where you want to be headed in the next 3, 5, 10 years. And let me kind of think through tasks that might help you grow in those areas as well. It's not always going to be perfectly aligned to your needs or your growth opportunities or your areas of interest, but I'll do my best. And so one of the things, she really enjoys marketing. She really enjoys content creation. And so the more opportunities that I can give her in that space helps me and also helps her. So just remembering to treat these people as they're humans too. They're just in a different time zone, in a different place. And so we need to understand their needs and their wants and their desires. And, I start every conversation with, how are you doing? What's going on? Did you have a good weekend? Just like you would a friend. It's really no different. And so I think it's sometimes easy just to get right into, I need your help with XYZ, but don't forget to actually intentionally build that relationship as well.
Yes. Again, as what you mentioned earlier, they're also people. They're not just someone that you can throw tasks to, not like some robot. But again, just make them feel that they are part of something, especially the success and, of course, the hardships of your business, because that would make them feel that hey, I'm really part of this team. I'm really part of this family.
And I think the other thing too is don't forget to be very open. I mentioned feedback earlier, but don't forget to be very open with that feedback. And, we're go, go, go. I think a lot of people are, constantly on the move and expect perfection. I'm a perfectionist, but, don't forget to tell them when they're doing great. Don't forget to tell them and give them positive feedback. There's a famous study that you need 5 pieces of positive feedback for every 1 criticism. And we're not going to be perfect. And I'm, certainly not the best at that. And I try every day to get better and better and better. But do not forget that positive feedback. Think about what you would want if your boss was just constantly telling you, you're not doing it right, you're not doing it right, you're not doing it right, and not building that confidence. The more connected they are to you, the connected they are to your business, and the more positive and confident they feel, the better they're going to do.
100% agree with you there. Is once they really feel that they are a part of something, then they would really, really shine. And again, imagine it's just a month and a half with your Cyberbacker. Imagine what you can do in, let's say, the next 6 months, right? Very
absolutely.
exciting.
Possibilities are endless.
Sky is the limit. Now, one last question. Now, one thing is for sure, once we have this on social media, your Cyberbacker is going to be able to watch this. So we'd like to know, what do you like most about your Cyberbacker? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
She is such a positive person. She is constantly looking for feedback. Talked a lot about feedback in this. She takes feedback very well. And she is respectful. She's a quick learner. So, a lot of times in the beginning, I tried to handhold her a lot. I know she was very nervous. And I could sense that. And so I tried to give her a lot more support and walking her through things step by step. But now I just throw her tasks. I just say, hey, just try to go figure this out. And if you can't figure it out, I'm here to catch you. I'm here to support you. Text me, email me, call me, whatever. But she just takes those opportunities and runs and, she at least tries before she reaches out and asks questions, which is just hugely helpful from a time perspective to me. And frankly, she does a phenomenal job at it. So she doesn't even really need my help.
Now, we are very, very excited to see where this partnership leads to, of course, for the next couple of months. And again, lately, thank you very much for dropping by. I had fun talking to you today.
Of course, my pleasure.
Thank you for listening to our daily dose of Cyber CEO. Stay tuned to know more about how Cyberbacker creates a difference in this digital time and age. You can visit our website www.cyberbacker.com and follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Spotify.